Good morning, everyone. It's Kat Sturtz from rockingyourpath.com, and it is Fast Action Friday with my guest today, Victoria Hargis. Did I say that
Thank
right,
you.
Victoria?
Close enough. That's the way my ex-husband used to say it. So he
Well,
changed
I
it
guess
halfway
that's
through our
close.
marriage. Yeah. I was like, okay, whatever.
Absolutely. Okay, you can't get better than that, right?
You're right.
I can say Sturtz now, which is my husband's name. So it's like, and it comes across, you should hear how it's pronounced on voicemails sometimes. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I am the founder of rockingyourpath.com Fast Action Fridays we are doing right now, and the Bridges to Success programs, including Jumpstart Your Success Boot Camp starting in May and Stand Out from the Crowd, which is a 3-week social media live training session that starts April 25th. I help writers and artists, coaches and consultants, and other service-based professionals who are eager to start and grow a profitable small or home-based business, how to find more time, more money, and affordable resources to rock their unique path, how to overcome obstacles and hidden barriers, and we all have them, and how to prosper with passion and purpose. Yay!
Yay.
And my guest today, Victoria, helps people to discover their purpose, learn how to access their inner leader and claim their place in the world. And she does that by helping them let go of their fear, letting go of past resentments, and step into their future as impassioned leaders. You can understand why I invited her to be on the show today, can't you? She is a licensed practitioner of NLP, and she can explain what that is, a certified hypnotist, and a licensed transition coach. In her most recent released book, Raw Leadership, Awaken Your Power Within, walks readers through the steps to experience their own awakening. And Victoria and I are good counterparts of similar yet different energy modalities, because I'm a Reiki master and an EFT practitioner, which is emotional freedom techniques, or more people, most people know it by tapping. And there's a lot of crossover with people who are hypnotists and NLP practitioners. So for those who may not know, what is NLP?
The easiest explanation I can give on NLP is learning how to understand the communication that you give and the communication that you receive from other people. Communication is really, the words are only like 7% of the information that is transmitted between people. So by learning to become a better communicator, both receiving and giving, you can avoid a lot of the stuff that goes on in your life with people misunderstanding each other. Most of the arguments are like that. If you
they are. And people react to their buttons and don't look behind the intent of the words. I used to do a workshop called He Said, She Said, based on, oh gosh, her name's just, it's Deborah Tanneman, I think it is.
Okay.
Who has a book by that name. And as much as we don't like to stereotype people, stereotypes exist because they have some element of truth in them. Men and women, typically, especially those who are our age, or at least 40 and above, were brought up with a certain type of language that meant different things. When a woman says yes, and when a man says yes, they're not saying the same thing. One's saying, yeah, I agree with you, and one's saying, yes, I hear you.
Yes.
But not necessarily agreeing with you, right?
Yeah. That's true.
Right. Just a little bit of housekeeping here. If you are in the live room and can access the chat, you can ask a question by typing a / the lowercase letter Q, a space, and then your question, and then it will appear in the chat roll with a wonderful blue egg or a blue circle surrounding it. It catches our eye. It does transfer to the replay, but it also gives us a chance to pop it into an open seat like I did here. So other people viewing live can see that. And I will read questions off as we go along for the benefit of those who are just listening and to those watching the replay who may miss it in the chat room and don't get to see the extra little writing in the seat. All right. Now we've got 10, 15 minutes to go through your basic information and some fast action tips that you recommend people can take right now to move forward in their life, to do the things that you are passionate about sharing.
Okay, great. Hold on. So I'll get started. First of all,
I got my seatbelt on, right?
I'll try not to talk too fast because I tend to talk fast. So really, when you think about it, we all want to be successful in life. And there really are three things that I've identified that stop us. Okay. One of them is that yapping chihuahua that goes off in our head all the time, telling us we're not good enough, we're not worthy enough, we don't have enough credentials, we don't, everybody's is a little bit different, but we all have one. The second one is that we don't allow other people in to help us. So we're lone wolves. And I was a lone wolf for a lot of the years of my life. So I understand that very clearly. I know how to do everything, but it's not the most resourceful use of my time. And then the third thing is we have an upper limit problem, because if we, in our map of reality that we grow up with and we learn and how we learn, and part of it, what you were saying earlier about the stereotyping is on that map of reality. It's different for everyone. Everyone has a certain point at which they think that they should not rise above. It's just everybody does. If you get close to that point, you're going to sabotage yourself. We've been there.
Yeah, I've been there
many times.
Luckily, I'd like to think I'm past it, but you know what? We re-hit it from time to time.
We do,
right?
We totally do. Because you reset it and then it's higher, but it might not be as high as it needs to be. There should be no limits, but we have them. Okay, so those are three things that can block us from our success. And the easiest way that I talk to people about how to become, how to short circuit those things so they don't trip us up, is that there are really three things that you need to do in order to fix your mindset and to fix your ability to become successful. And one of those things is, because we all have a different map of reality, and because we are all masters of our universe and we control what actually happens in our life, even if we think we don't, even if we think it's someone else, that there are certain things you have to do. So you have to become aware of what you're doing and how it's creating the reality you have. That's the first step.
Absolutely. That matches so well with what I tell people, because the moment you become aware, which is to recognize what's happening, is the moment you also have to accept responsibility for that awareness. And that's what scares people off and and they pull the blinders over themselves. They know that once they become aware, they have to become responsible. Right?
That's right. Radical responsibility. I talk about that all the time. The thing about being aware is every time you get triggered by some event or some person, you have brought that into your life on some level. So if they're triggering you and you become angry, first of all, no one can make you angry. That's a choice you're making. It's coming from inside of you, from your map of reality. So you need to look at that and why you are choosing to be angry about the situation. Usually it's a deeper emotion or a deeper thing or a wound that happened in your childhood or early adulthood or whenever it was in your past life, so that you it creates automatic programming. So you hear something that sounds like your dad when he was perhaps being mean to you or beating you or whatever, and it automatically triggers you into that old wound. So once you become aware of it, you can actually say, okay, wait a minute. This is not my father. This is not going on. What's going on here? Because the person might not mean anything by what they said, and you took it.
Yeah, you're still reacting to that old trigger the way it was.
Yeah,
and we're not. I want to make it absolutely clear for people listening live and those on the replay. You and I are not talking about accepting injustices from our past and saying they were good for us. We are talking about change our current and future emotional reaction to those triggers that happened in the past. So they no longer hold us back now and going forward, correct?
Right. That is correct. We can't really change the past. I personally have gotten to the level where this is going to sound crazy. I'm thankful for every single thing that happened in my life because it brought me to where I am, even though it was very, very painful going through. And even though it took me years to correct some of them, I am very, very grateful for them because I would not be where I am today. That's not to excuse it. It's just to say, you can transmute that memory or that wound into something that is more positive. And this is the thing about it. Do you really you can be either at the cause of it or the effect of it, which by that I mean you can either have ownership of it and take charge and be aware that you are creating your life, or you can be at effect of it, which means you have no control over anything. You don't have control over what happens to you. It just happens. Okay. I would rather be the cause than the effect, because when I'm the cause, at least I can own who I am and I can move forward and create the life I want. Okay. So that's all about awareness. Okay. The second one, the second action step is, this is kind of hard for a lot of people, is to recognize that no one owns the truth. Even
you only own your perception of the truth, right?
Right. So true. And how often, well, just look, all you have to do is look at the political scene in our country.
It's like looking at mirrors here,
It is.
We've been there. We've done that. We've helped people through it and helped ourselves and had help getting through it, right?
Definitely.
So tell us more about that one.
No one goes along. Okay. So for example, I find it funny when I'm on Facebook and somebody starts an argument about a political thing. That, to me, it's funny. I know it doesn't seem funny when you're in the middle of it, especially when they're calling names back and forth. But I had an incident happen, and I was just asking questions. Okay, I was saying, I just trying to understand where you're coming from. And this person who was he was a psychologist, and he worked in family court to help them resolve their differences. Okay. And he could not get past calling me names. He would never answer what I was saying. This went on. And I'm like, he called me at least 15 names during the conversation. And I kept saying,
I'm taking these were derogatory or non-helpful names.
Oh, non-helpful. Yes. They're always, if you label somebody, radical, or if you label somebody leftist, or you label somebody rightist, you're trying to color the truth of other people's perceptions of what's going on, right? Right. And if you label somebody, then it's real easy to get them ostracized from a group or from a place, because no one wants to be with the chicken with the black spot who's getting pecked to death by everybody else, right? So we don't want to be that person. So that's one of the first steps of when anger happens. You try to shut people down by calling them a name. Okay. And if that doesn't work, you escalate and you do other things. And then finally it gets to the point where you will actually take the step of shunning them from the group, getting them out of your Facebook group, getting them out of your face, unfriend them, whatever it is, so you do not have to face what you're thinking.
Absolutely. That goes right back to number one, first step in becoming aware. And what I mentioned about when you choose to become aware, you also choose to take responsibility for that. And you can back away from that as well as step forward into it. All right. So what's the next step?
Next step. This is the hard one always. So when we get triggered, if you get angry about something, or say you even have a dream and it brings up a memory or whatever, it doesn't really matter whether it's someone else or something that's coming up in you, because once you go into the first step, which is becoming aware, the universe is going to help you, or God's going to help you bring up that stuff that's buried so you can heal it. Okay. So a lot of people think that I'm triggered, I'm upset, I don't want to feel this. And it would be more resourceful to say, I'm really grateful that I'm feeling this, because I can work through it and heal this wound. Okay. So the third step is, when you're triggered, go deeper. What is
and that takes guts. It
takes guts. It totally takes guts. I mean, this week I was working with somebody who was coaching me. Okay. Because coaches always have coaches, that.
Because we value what a coach can help you do to get out of your own way. It's not enough to know it logically and practically in our own heads. You can't, I think it was Einstein, or at least he's credited with saying, you can't solve a problem with the same mindset that you had when it was created,
right? And we only have our map that we grew up with, and it's so automatic, that we have to really look at what that map says. And the example I give, which is kind of a weird one, but I'll give it anyhow if you'd like, is I grew up, the first Black person I ever met I was junior in high school. Okay. So I lived in a pretty white area of town, and as I grew up, I was like, no, would never act on what I think sometimes because I know the thinking is screwy, but I can't get to the point where I see the person behind the color. I mean, I see the color first. And because I see the color first, I know that on some level, there's some sort of prejudice going on. I don't want to feel that. I don't want to look at that and see that, but I am aware of that, very aware of it. So it would never prevent me from being a friend with anyone of color. It would not prevent me from getting to know them better, but it does put a barrier at some level in me. So we each have things, and that was kind of like one I could share. I like that. I like your thing. You only own the perception of truth of an issue, event, or person. Yes. What you just said in the chat.
No, I can hear you. And I grew up in Detroit in a very white family. I mean, look at me, you don't get much whiter. I have to put makeup online or I look like Casper here. But my very first friend, one-on-one, the very first friend I remember very young was a girl named Judy who lived a few houses down from me. And she was a Black girl. And cool. I have to trigger myself to remember that she was Black. And one of my greatest, what I feel is one of my greatest successes with my kids was my son was about 12 years old. And, we're living in a farm in the upper thumb of Michigan. Back in the 70s.
I do that about Wisconsin too. That little thing up in Door County.
Yeah, my God. But the perceptions of what happens in Detroit are still very, very prevalent up here because they just haven't had a lot of interaction with people. And I made a point of taking my kids back down to Detroit and to downtown Detroit, Belle Isle, and wanted them to be exposed to things that they wouldn't be in our own area. And I think we were on Belle Isle. And this thin black man walked by us. And my 12-year-old son looks at me and says, "Hey, Mom, he looks just like Fonzie." And I went, "What?" And he says, "Yeah, he's wearing that white T-shirt and he's got the sleeves rolled up a little bit and and I can see he just got off a motorcycle." Hallelujah. He did exactly what you said. He saw right past the color to something else he could identify with. And I thought that was just amazing.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Write it for you said something in the chat. She said, I also heard, is that Cindy? Okay. I also heard that we tend to notice in someone else things that we don't like in ourselves or that we are seeking to change. So correct. Because if you really want to change your environment, take a look at the people you're attracting, because the people you are attracting are the people that have aspects of yourself. And what you don't like in them is in you at some level.
Absolutely. And that's a good thing. And it happens to all of us. To me, life is a spiral. We continue to learn and grow. And it's, in my mind, it's not to erase all problems we have in our life. It's to be aware of the problems that we have and that we are prone to more quickly so we can overcome them more quickly each time that that obstacle jumps up in front of us. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. So if some tendencies that we have will continue to be tendencies that we have. And again, that first step to become aware, be aware of the tendencies like you were talking about, when you see people of color, because that was something from your past. You weren't exposed to it, but you are very aware. So you think more about before you may respond right then.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's a good thing. You know, I'm gonna state something that I state in workshops that I've written about before. People, discrimination is not a bad thing when it's done for the right purpose. We all have to discriminate, because without discrimination, we let everybody else hold us hostage to time, our feelings, our emotions, our path forward in life. So discrimination also means that you are careful about the people that you let into your life. And that can be a form of growth, or you can surround yourself with negative people. That misery loves company, and that negative energy will keep you stuck and drive you down, despite what's coming out of your mouth, that this is so bad. I want this to change. I want my life to change. You're absolutely correct. You have to look at the people you have put yourself around.
Right. And and this goes back to your automatic programming from your map of reality, because those are the people you have felt comfortable with, because that is what you've known. So if you want to change it, you have to become a little bit uncomfortable. Well, pretty much a lot uncomfortable at first.
There are those moments, and that's what you and I help people through. And like you said, we both have our own coaches, because to know what a trigger is and to get through it is something that's often easier to do when there's an objective person helping you through it. That can, with tapping, for instance, I've had clients that also were EFT practitioners and at certified levels higher than what I do. And they know it so well that when we're discussing things and they want a breakthrough and I see them tapping, I made them sit on their hands because they were self-medicating themselves.
Yes. And you bring up a great point, because it's like, don't you think, and maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying, so please correct me, but don't you think sometimes that people use, and I'm going to call it woo-woo, because a lot of people think of it as woo-woo science, like the tapping, and
it's not,
but some people think of it. Okay. That we use that almost like we used to use a drug, that, okay, we're not going to deal with the stuff. Yeah.
Because it's affecting your blood flow, your energy flow, the reactions that your body is doing. And I had to say, stop. If you want to get past this, you have to do what you said in step 3, your fast action step 3. You had to go deeper. And by tapping and soothing and making things comfortable for herself, she was always also preventing herself from going deeper at the time she needed most to go deeper.
Absolutely.
All right, let me do a quick recap. So my guest today is Victoria Hargis, and we're talking about how to fix your life by fixing your mindset. And she had 3 wonderful fast action tips that you can do in each one of these. You know, each one of these takes less than a minute in practicality to do, to let your mind absorb, and to work them out going forward will take you some time, probably a lifetime, to get it all right. But the first step to fix your mindset is to become aware. Second is to recognize that no one owns the truth. You know, you only own the perception of your truth. And third is, when you're triggered, go deeper. So we are into our bonus Q&A time, and we'll go on for several more minutes here. If you have a question or would like to jump into an open seat, please do so. Victoria, tell us more while we're waiting for questions, or if somebody would like to jump into a seat.
Okay, I can tell you this, because this really helps, because it gets down to the really, once you become aware how you do it. So you want different results in your life, you have to change 4 things. Okay, I'm bringing in another set of 4. So I brought a set of 3, now it's a set of 4. You have to change how you feel, about the situation. So your emotion drives the thoughts, which become feelings, which become your reality. What you feel is what you're going to experience, okay? And we all have experienced that by, if we have somebody that is in a grouchy mood, do you know how often that group becomes grouchy and starts complaining back and forth? We tend to spiral down into that. So you have to change how you feel. You have to change how you behave, because it's our behavior that reinforces the memory back into who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have to change the people and the situations that you attract or become attracted to, because it's going to feel odd at first. I'm just going to tell you, it's going to feel odd when you reach out to people that are not your peeps right now. But your peeps have kept you where you are. You need to move beyond that. And you also have to do, the fourth thing is to take whatever happens and change the meaning that you assign to it, so that when it goes back into your memory, it's a different meaning. So for example, if a certain situation has always triggered you into anger, you have to change how you react to that anger, change the feeling of anger. And I don't mean suppressing anything that you need to go through, but change the feeling, change how you describe that event back into your brain, into your map of reality. Okay. It wasn't he made you angry. I got angry, and I got angry for, I believe, this reason. And that way it changes the whole experience of it. So in the future, you have another thing on your map of reality that can actually help you choose differently.
Right, right, right. And then I love this stuff. Obviously, I get very passionate about this. And this is why I'm a business life coach, though I have a long history of working in business and writing and publishing, but I also like the energy side where things really can get solved.
Yeah, they can.
We can't change the child abuse or the sexual abuse or the bad advice or the bad environment or whatever it was, our shyness when we were a child. For those of you who may have been shy, people perceived me as shy. I was not. I was not shy. I was observant, but I was in an environment that didn't reward leaders at that time. Yeah. I was rewarded for taking care of the family,
Yeah.
So you have to mitigate that. You do not change those things. What we are looking at is changing your mindset and your emotional energy reaction to those things. So when similar things happen now, you can react differently. So, it took me a long time to realize I had 3 triggers in my life that were capping my income ability. And it was an eye-opener to find them, including finding one that named the figure specifically that I was capping out on.
Wow.
At 50,
that's your problem.
Was like, holy crap, no wonder,
Yeah.
I got to change that, I'm going to put in the chat bar right now, Victoria's site, if you'd like to go there. Victoria, anything special they should know about your site?
Right now, if you go to that URL, it's a landing page, which will allow you to download a PDF on the 9 fields of power around you that will either give you energy or suck it away. And the best example I can give you is, that junk drawer that we all have? Every time you think of it, every time you look at it, it takes energy away from you. So, and that's just physical clutter. There's like 9 different fields. One of them is your mimetic field, which is your brain. So there's all sorts of things you can do to declutter each one of those fields that help you have the energy that you need to have the life that you want. So they can download that as a bonus audio.
And that's free, except all they have to do is give you their email address, so you've got some place to send it to.
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
So.
And then on Facebook, I know that you run a Facebook group that I am in.
Yes.
And you want to tell people about that?
What I decided to do with this group was, I had struggled for years doing business the way I was supposed to do business, right? Only it was killing me. It was absolutely killing me because I felt so disconnected from my soul and my heart, And so when I started my journey during the last 5-6 years, the thing that attracted me was the idea of connecting all those parts of myself into, so that my purpose, I could fulfill the purpose and really own all parts of me. So the group is called Soul Driven Women Entrepreneurs. I'm not letting any men in yet. I probably never will. It's only women only. We tend to I don't know whether it's processed different or think different.
Here's an example where I think discrimination is a good thing. I do not have a problem with men-only groups.
No.
Certain ethnic-only groups, certain women-only groups. There's a certain time and place for those things.
There is, and it's a safe place for everybody.
Was the first woman on the San County Sheriff's Posse in their 20-year history.
So anyway, the group's pretty open. You can do just about anything you want, other than I would like people to actually, interact participate rather than just post their stuff. I don't mind if they post their stuff, but they also
make it relevant.
Yeah, make it relevant. Don't you know what I mean? We all know that.
Absolutely. We all. The same thing with my group that you're in, the Rocking Your Path community. Part of the reason for my group is to give people a safe place to practice how they can engage with people in other areas. They have wonderful things to share, but you can't post like a used car, like the worst of a used car salesman, their tactics, and expect people to want to do business with you or to engage with you.
Well, that's exactly what I was working on with my mentor this week, because I have over 500 graphics that I post all the time, and I tend to be my archetype is sage, which means that I'm very intellectual. So it all goes off as intellectual rather than connected. Not that I'm not sharing who I am, but it's hard to hit my market because they're more of a caretaking type people, because that's what I was for years and years and years and years. And so it's really important to practice, because you don't always see and know what exactly what you're doing is hitting the people that you are presenting it to. So yeah,
that's funny, Chef Dennis. You don't need to leave just because her group is women only.
Oh no.
That's my husband, so he's being funny. So so I can make fun of him. So one of the best things I ever did was change a mindset that got me a new guy. So,
that's cool.
It took a while.
I changed my mindset and got rid of a guy, but I haven't gotten a new guy.
Well, we can work on that.
Okay.
We can work on that. All right. Well, this has been absolutely awesome. Victoria was originally scheduled to be on earlier in the year, and we had major technical problems that day. My good friend Cindy Freeman, who is Write It For You in the sidebar, filled in, and a couple other people came to our rescue, and we had a wonderful show, again, about mindset. It was different because there is so much good information. And as much as I know about it, I know that I need reminders about it, because I still have my own stuff to get out from under and around and over and through.
Right.
So let me stop the recording. We'll stick around for a few more minutes if anybody would like to chat off the record. This is Kat Sturtz with my special guest today, Victoria Hargis. We have been talking about how to fix your mindset to fix your life. This is Kat Sturtz. Visit me on rockingyourpath.com, and I'll see you next week for another Fast Action Friday.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. I'm not sure. It just says pause recording, so I did that. Donald, I'm going to check my emails again, refresh there. And like I said, I've got another one coming up. Social when this is shut down. Yeah, it was shut down. This was all shut down earlier. So after it didn't render properly, it stayed on processing for the longest time, and it usually only takes about 10 minutes this time. And it's not even showing as being scheduled or being live or anything at the time. So, but thank you for your hints. If there's anything else, let me know. And I'm going to drop out because, like I said, I'm needed elsewhere. Cross your fingers. Hi, Peter. Hope to see you at 1 o'clock on This Room Is Never Shut Down. Peter, are you in the other, the lounge room or something? That's where I originally posted. Right now, I'm on my Blab page, fast action tips, fix your mindset, fix your life with Victoria Hargis and Kat. All right. Thank you. Bye.